When a mother discovered why her son's burial was so green, she sobbed because she couldn't understand it. Whether it's a friend or family member, losing a dear one can cause excruciating agony. Death is an unsettling circumstance that can leave you with more questions than answers, regardless of whether you were acquainted with the deceased for your whole life or their time on Earth was brutally cut short. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Finding solace following the loss of a loved one can be challenging. Many individuals just don't know how to handle loss, and healing might take a while if they are processing it alone. Still, there are instances when a stranger's unselfish gesture of compassion may have a profound impact. The death of their son was nearly unbearable for one family. The family was taken aback nonetheless when an additional mourner suddenly reached out in an act of unselfish, pure compassion. This tale of tragedy, kindness, and rekindled hope for mankind will astound you. For Staff Sergeant Joseph Villaseñor, joining the U.S. Air Force fulfilled his lifelong ambition. He enrolled in 1994 and diligently served for 16 years, giving his all to his task. Joseph gave everything he did his all when he was dedicated. Joseph participated in the softball league at the Charleston Air Force Base when he was in the Air Force. He was the epitome of a terrific man to all his fellow troops. Regretfully, 2010 was a year of disaster. Joseph was murdered in an unplanned vehicle accident while he was just 36 years old. His wife and parents, whom he left behind, were horrified by the unfortunate turn of events and decided that Garden Park Cemetery in Conroe, Texas, would be the last resting place for his remains. But when his parents visited his grave one day, they were taken aback by what they discovered, and it was all because of a unique stranger. In 2014, Jake Riesing lost his 65-year wife, and he never fully recovered from her sudden death. He had cherished his marriage to Betty, who had been the embodiment of the ideal spouse. The widower went on to have 9 children and compared his life with his wife to a fairy tale. Her death came as a terrible blow. Even after she passed away, Jake refused to say goodbye and continued to regularly visit her cemetery. But while he was in the cemetery, he also began to do something else that would ultimately affect the lives of another family. For Jake, the same fundamental pattern pervaded his day. Every morning he went to church for prayer. After meeting one of his children for coffee, he returned home to tend to his garden. The retiring senior needed to be occupied. It was his method of managing his loss. He went to Garden Park Cemetery in the afternoon to place some flowers he had plucked from his yard on his wife's tombstone. To ensure that the grass remained lush and green, he even made the extra effort to water the area surrounding the headstone. When friends and family asked why Jake went to the cemetery every day, he gave this heartfelt explanation. Jake handed his wife Betty a rose every day of their 65-year marriage, and he refused to stop the custom even after passing away. But he made the decision to add a new activity to his schedule in 2015. Texas experienced a terrible drought that summer, which killed every blade of grass in the cemetery. The dark grass that surrounded the headstones made for a gloomy appearance, and Jake couldn't stand to watch his wife's last resting place appear so uninspired. Consequently, he devised a fix. Jake started irrigating the grass around his wife's burial. The extra work paid off over time, as the grass once again turned a vivid green color. The elder wanted to do the right thing by his wife, whom he missed much, even though he knew that watering the lawn amid a drought would be looked upon. While on a visit to the cemetery one day, Jake saw a distraught wife weeping at a neighboring gravestone. His heart was warmed by her honest expression of feeling, so he crept over to her in the hopes that he might somehow reassure and soothe her. Following a brief exchange of light conversation, the woman disclosed that she was Joseph Villaseñor's wife and that it had been 5 years since his passing. Together, they were able to offer one other some solace after Jake told her that he had lost his wife the year before. The retired senior made a little gesture, but he was pleased to have made her smile, even if only for a brief while. Even after the woman departed, Jake continued to feel awful for her situation. While she spent only a few brief years with her spouse, he had the chance to have a long life together. Jake felt he had to do her something kind right then. Raymond and Rachel, Joseph's parents, hadn't visited their son's cemetery in a number of months. They made the decision to go to the cemetery and spend some time with their beloved son after realizing they had to put their suffering aside and pay their respects. Upon their arrival, the parents were taken aback to discover something remarkable. Joseph's gravesite had vivid green, lush grass surrounding it. Even though the cemetery was lifeless and drab due to the drought, the bereaved parents were astounded by what they saw and questioned how it was possible. Rachel told the local media, "I told my husband it had to be a miracle from above. What other explanation is there for it?" The parents, however, were about to learn the truth, and it would bring them to tears. The parents were too busy wondering how the grass had survived to see Jake gently walking toward them and grinning broadly. Though Jake had no idea how they would feel about his messing with their son's burial, he hoped they would be grateful. He told them he wanted to offer them a gift and that he had spoken with their daughter-in-law a few months before. He gave an explanation of his own daily schedule for his wife's burial and expressed happiness that he could be of any tiny assistance to the family. Jake disclosed that he had also lost a loved one in the military. His daughter had been married to Benjamin, a U.S. veteran who tragically found out he had cancer. Despite receiving treatment shortly after deployment, he passed away in 2011. Jake believed that watering his son's cemetery would respect his memory after learning that he had served in the military. Jake said, "I have a lot of respect for the men and women who have served our nation. I reasoned that by keeping the grass green, the family would be able to cope with their loss and believe that something could still be alive among the dead." It seemed unbelievable to Raymond and Rachel that Jake would make the extra effort to accomplish something so meaningful for their family. With no idea how they would ever be able to pay him back, Rachel just threw her arms around him and wiped away a few tears. Unbeknownst to Rachel and Raymond, Jake and their son Joseph were in fact not strangers, at least not in Jake's view. He believed they had been somewhat spiritually acquainted as they had been caring for and tending to their son's tomb for months. Roger, Jake's son, claims that his father's love for Joseph, whom he now refers to as Joe, is simply who he is as a person. He treats Joe in the same manner that he treated my mother and my brothers. He is a kind man who gives generously to others. Roger was determined that no one would overlook his father's kind deed. Even though his father was a selfless individual who consistently showed compassion without seeking acknowledgement, he desired that, for once, his good nature would be acknowledged. He decided to post his father's tale on Facebook as a result. Roger shared a poignant message about his dad's daily routine and his newfound bond with Joseph, the slain American warrior. He was proud that his father was treating a total stranger like one of his own kids and showing him respect. He continued by emphasizing the value of cherishing each day and loving your family because you never know when they would be taken from you. A month before, 3 armed thieves broke into the workplace of Roger's daughter, nearly taking her life. She wasn't working that day, thank goodness, but he was aware of how disastrous things may have gone. As a grandpa, Jake cultivated close relationships with his grandkids and made a point of setting a good example by demonstrating the healing power of unadulterated love and selflessness. Jake's daughter believes that he and his late wife are still married. She uploaded a photo of her parents during their 6th wedding anniversary when the media took up the tale of her dad's thoughtful act. "Mom just lives in heaven. Mom and Dad are still married." If Jake wants others to learn anything from his tale, it's to live life to the fullest and prioritize love above everything else. You never know how one simple act of kindness might have a profound effect on someone's life. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.